Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to the channel and Happy New Year. Okay, I don't know what time you're watching this, but I'm thinking about making one of my New Year's goals to drink all my water out of a martini glass. It makes me feel very refined. Yeah. Did I get you? Who thought I was drinking a martini while talking on camera? All right, guys, this video is about your New Year's goals. We're at the beginning of a new year. It's time to make goals. Those goals are integral to your success throughout the year. So let's get into it. The tips I'm going to share with you today, these tips are good for every single new year and whatever new year you celebrate. Hey, did you know that New Year's Day, the January 1st New Year's Day that's celebrated in the West, was a decree of Julius Caesar in 46 BCE. Now, it was probably because of January or Janus being the god of new beginnings. When Caesar was murdered, the holiday was on a state of on again and off againness. Like through the years, they celebrated it, they didn't celebrate it. But then in the 16th century, when we adopted the Gregorian calendar, it then became permanent, and that's what we've celebrated in the West ever since. But there are many New Years throughout the world. So I'm not going to assume that you watching this, you are celebrating New Year's on January 1st. Take the Chinese New Year, for example. The Chinese New Year falls every year between January 21st and February 21st, depending on when the new moon of the lunar cycle starts. That is great news for me as a content creator and you as someone who is creating goals for the new year. Why is that? Why is the Chinese New Year good for me? I'll tell you why. Because if you have dropped your goals that you made for the January 1st New Year, you can always start again on the Chinese New Year, which is just 3 to 4 or 5 weeks after the New Year. So yeah, that's great. Second chances, that's what it's all about. Anyway, back to the intended topic of this video, and that is New Year goals. A new year is a time for new beginnings. It's a time to put right what is wrong. It's a time to start again. It's a time to make positive change. It's a time to resolve to do better. We're talking resolutions. No, we are not talking resolutions. Resolutions are rubbish. A resolution is just a decision to do something, nothing more. Resolutions are probably the reason that gyms are packed in January and empty again in February. Today we're talking about New Year goals for your running. Now they're just like resolutions. You're still making a decision to do something, only with a goal. We're taking concrete steps to achieve that goal. Goals, huh? Okay, while you're watching this video, I want you to think about what your New Year goals are, and I want you to share them with me down in the comments. Now, we're talking running on this channel, we're talking running. I want to know about your New Year running goals, but also goals work in every area of your life. So I want you to think about life goals, relationship goals, work goals, finance goals. You can share all that in the comments if you want to, but sharing your running goals, that's mandatory. That's a mandatory assignment. While you're thinking about your running goals, I want to give you a few tips on how to make goals that will work for you. And when I say work for you, I mean goals that you will still stick to in 6 months from now. Tip number 1 is to make your goals specific. So you may be wondering, what is a specific goal? Well, let me tell you what it is by telling you what it's not. I want to start running is not a specific goal. I want to run faster is not a specific goal. I want to run further. That's not a specific goal. I want to lose weight. That's not a specific goal. So let's take each of those goals and make them more specific. I want to start running, and I will do so by starting at 6 a.m. on January 1st, and I will run at least 1 mile 4 days a week. That's specific. I want to run more, and I will do so by running at least 4 times a week. Additionally, I will run at least 20 miles a week, and I will increase my mileage each week by no more than 10%. That is specific. This year, I want to lose weight, and I will do so by never eating ice cream as a meal. That's pretty specific. This year, I want to eat better, and I will do so by eating either fruit and or vegetables with every single meal. So look, as you can see, specific goals, they take a little bit more time to work out. They take a little bit more time to think through. But specific goals are integral to your success because they outline what you're going to do. It's not just some pie in the sky dream that you thought up with no steps. A specific goal gives you a path to take to achieving your goals. Tip number 2. Okay, tip number 2 is to make your goal measurable. So let's say your New Year's goal is to run a 10K. Well, that's pretty specific, but to make it measurable, you're gonna have to put a little more thought into it. So let's say my New Year's goal is to run a 10K in 50 minutes. Having that 50-minute time goal makes it measurable. You've got something you're working towards, and you don't have to do it on the first time. You can make incremental goals that lead to your end goal at a certain point in the future. So let's say you are currently running a 10K in 1 hour. Well, you could make a first goal to meet your 10K time in 55 minutes, and then 3 or 4 months down the line, you could be training towards running a 10K in 50 minutes. All right guys, quick coffee break. Listen, if you're enjoying this video, if you're getting any value, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already, consider subscribing. All right, back to the New Year goals. Tip number 4. Okay, here we go, moving right along. Your New Year's goal has to be relevant. Don't just make a running goal because you feel like you should. A lot of people, me included, talk a lot about the marathon, right? And it comes across like the marathon is the be-all and end-all of distance running. It's not. Neither is the half marathon, neither is the 10K. No particular distance is any better than another. So you find what works for you and then you set that goal. But it has to be relevant. So how do we know what a relevant goal is? Ask yourself this: is the goal I'm setting worthwhile? And ask yourself, am I responsible for achieving this goal? Your goal can't be reliant on someone else. And that's why running goals are great, because they are up to you to put in the training, to do the work, to reach the goal. Okay, moving right along to tip number 5. And this is, well, it's just as important as all the others, but it's hugely important. And tip number 5 is that you have to put a clock on your goal. You can't just say, I'm gonna run more this year and that be it, okay? You have to put a clock, an end point to your goal so you know what you're working towards. There has to be a light at the end of the tunnel. You've all heard the phrases, a dream without a goal is just a wish, or a dream becomes a goal when action is taken towards achieving it. By giving your goal an end point, you are increasing the chances that you will actually meet that goal. When you meet the goal, or when you start getting close to it, you can build your future goals that build off that goal. So let's go back to our 10K, running a 10K in 50 minutes. Let's say the end point is March 5th, just to pull a date out of the air. Let's say my New Year's goal is to run a 10K in 50 minutes by March 5th. Well, March 5th comes, I run a 10K in 49 minutes and 50 seconds, crushing my goal by 10 seconds. Then what? Well, now I want to build off that goal. So my next goal could be to run a 10K on trails by June 1st. And that is a great goal. Listen, let's just say we've never run a trail run before. It would be inappropriate to set a time. So we're just going to put a clock on it and we are going to run a trail 10K. After that, we build the next goal and then the next goal. And our life continually gets better because we are setting and achieving our goals. All right, I am really looking forward to hearing about your goals for the new year. So please go ahead and write in the comments. Now, a lot of people have asked me what my goals are for the new year, so I'm just gonna very briefly share what my running goals are for the new year. My primary goal for the upcoming year is to run a marathon fast. Now, a lot of you have been following me on Strava and on this channel, and you've seen that I've run a few marathons in the last year, but most of them have not been well trained and like an all-out effort. So for the next year, my goal is to run a specific marathon, and I want to run it fast, and I want to qualify for the Boston Marathon. So let me just look at my notes here so I get the dates right. So I will be training for and running the St. Petersburg Distance Classic. It's a road marathon on February 9th, 2020. And I'll be going for a 3:05, 3 hours and 5 minutes for the marathon, which is the 7:03 pace, or a 4:23 per kilometer pace. Yeah, you've been following me, and listen, there is a huge difference between running a marathon and racing a marathon. A huge difference. So this is what I'm going for. I'm gonna put it out there, and I want you guys to hold me accountable to my training, and I can do the same for you. Also, okay, this is a big one. This is a big one because I am running an ultra marathon, a 50-mile ultra marathon with my daughter Michelle, and let me just look at my notes again. March 14th. March 14th, we are running the Everglades Ultra. So that's 50 miles or 80 kilometers, and we're running through the Florida Everglades. This is going to be Michelle's first 50-mile race. So this is really going to be exciting, and I'll be filming it. So if you're not already, make sure you subscribe, because that's a video you're going to want to see. Okay, moving on. After the 50-mile race with my daughter Michelle, I'm running the Rotterdam Marathon with my daughter Libby. That's on April 5th. And of course, my goal for those races is to just run and be with my daughters and spend time with them and enjoy their company. But I'm also their Sherpa. I want to make these races fun for them, and I want them to achieve their goals. Right? As you may know, you may not know, but summer is really the running off season for us here in Florida because it gets so hot, and I haven't made any goals for the end of the year. Now, I will be entering the lottery for the New York City Marathon again. There's a very small chance I'll get in, so I'm really not holding my breath, but I'll be making my end of the year goals a little later in the year. So, you've had this whole video to think about your New Year's running goals. I hope you've made your running goals before, but after watching this, you know what you have to do to make your goals a reality, to lay out the steps to meet every running goal that you set for yourself. Listen, I sound like a broken record, but I want to know what your goals are, so go ahead and write in the comments below. If you're looking for a little more encouragement, go ahead and follow me on Strava, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. All the links to those social medias are in the show notes below. Guys, as always, thank you for staying all the way to the end of the video. It is hugely appreciated. I appreciate your time. Listen, this works wonders for the YouTube algorithm. Just you staying until the end makes YouTube send it out to a wider audience. If you got any value from this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not already, consider subscribing. Okay guys, I will see you next time. And as always, be kind, be happy, and run well.